Yo, I'm FX Toycat, and Minecraft 1.21, or the Tricky Trials update, contains 128 brand new Minecraft features, and today I'm going to show you every single one of them and how they work. Obviously, as well as making all of these new features, they've also changed some existing features. We will be showing those off in today's video, but I won't be counting those towards the grand total, and so let's get started. And let's say that the first 40 features are all unique things in the Minecraft world, but maybe some cynical people might call this big set of blocks 20 features, or even 5, but let's explain what they are first, and then we'll talk about the technicalities, because chiseled copper is our first brand new feature, and it's crafted by using 2 cut copper slabs. This will make a brand new decorative block, and it is purely decorative, but because it's made of copper, it will slowly expose and then weather and then oxidize over time, creating 4 separate variants of it. Then we have the copper bulb, a brand new copper block that functions in the redstone world. When you give it a redstone charge, it will turn on, and unlike a redstone lamp, which sounds awfully similar, it will hold that charge until you next press the button to turn it off. This is a very cool thing in my opinion, and it's a really great new light source just by itself, but to come with that, it has a very high cost. It requires 3 separate copper blocks, as well as a blaze rod, as well as a piece of redstone, but you do get 4 in exchange, so it's not all too bad. But going to the nether is a requirement for making these yourself, if you're not just going to mine them, and also keep in mind that as it slowly weathers, it will get slightly less light each time, so the fully non-oxidized copper bulb is the one you probably want most of the time outside of thematic builds. Then we have the copper grate. This is another decorative block. It functions kind of transparently, and it's crafted like so. 4 separate copper blocks will give you 4 separate copper grates, which makes it kind of expensive to craft just by itself. I would recommend using a stone cutter for this one, but yeah, 4 variants. It goes exposed, weathered, and then oxidized. The same is true for the copper trap door and the copper regular door. This is crafted like so. This is 6 separate copper ingots to make 2 copper trapdoors. That is fairly stingy, you might say, but at the same time, it used to be 6 copper blocks, so I think it could be a lot worse. And then we have the copper door, which is the same but vertical, and you get 3 doors for this. Why is it that you get 3 doors when they're much bigger and only 2 trapdoors when they're much smaller? It's a question that no one knows the answer to, but keep in mind these doors function like any other wooden doors in Minecraft. It's not iron, so it doesn't need to be powered, and even though it's in the trial chambers, there's no relation to the key here. You just open and close however and whatever you want, and obviously they come in 4 separate variants. So now you might be wondering why I said 40 blocks at the very beginning, and that's because every single one of these blocks has a second variant, and this is the waxed version. So if you place honeycomb on top of any one of the blocks that I've shown before, it will become a waxed chiseled copper or a waxed exposed copper bulb, and so this is especially handy for the copper bulb to make sure it always stays bright, but otherwise it's just a way of locking in a certain level of oxidation. So 40 separate blocks really are 20 blocks, waxed and unwaxed, but Minecraft counts them that way, and so do we. So with that said, next we have tough blocks. Tough is currently just a single Minecraft item. You can't even make stairs until 1.21 has changed that all. So this is tough stairs, this is the tough slab, this is the tough wall, the most obvious examples, but then they're crafted as you would expect. But then we've got polished tough, which is made from 4 tough together, so it's no actual extra cost because 4 tough creates 4 polished tough, and then you get slightly prettier stairs and slabs and walls, or you can take 4 of those polished tough and combine those together and you'll get some tough bricks. And this is, in my opinion, the best block of the set, and I think this isn't just my opinion. Minecraft clearly shares it, as you'll see in a future feature, but with that said, you can see we can make this into slabs, walls, and stairs, and then we can chisel these blocks by taking 2 separate slabs of that and making it into a chiseled tough brick or a chiseled tough by using regular tough slabs. These cannot be made into stairs, slabs, and walls, but they are very unique blocks, and I love having a brand new chiseled block that seems to represent another one of Minecraft's big, almost boss-like foes. And so with that said, that's 53 separate features just in new blocks, which I think a lot of people would cynically say, like, well, it's great to have new tough and copper blocks, but what if you don't care? And the answer is you get lots of stuff for you. So the Trial Explorer map is a fun new item that you can find, so I'm going to have to trade with the villager first. It's going to cost me 12 emeralds, and wait, what just happened to my emerald? Did it did it get stuck in whatever this is? Anyway, so you get 12 emeralds, and we can use these 12 emeralds plus our obviously our compass, and we can find a Trial Explorer map. This Trial Explorer map will tell me exactly where I have to go to find my next trial chamber. This is a really handy item because trial chambers are quite well hidden below ground. By the way, trial chambers are a whole feature in their own right, and you'll notice they use all of these brand new copper blocks, copper bulbs and chiseled copper and copper grates, but also a lot of tough bricks, which is the proof that they're clearly the best of the entire set. But yeah, you can find trial chambers all over your Minecraft world now. This is one of the biggest structures, and honestly, it feels rude to to say that all of that counts as 53 features. Well, this counts as just one, but this is just measuring it how it is. There is one brand new structure that contains some stuff inside of it, but by itself, it is one feature. It's just the biggest feature they've added in a long time, so big that it gets the titular naming. It is the Tricky Trials update after all, with the trials being named after the trial spawners, something you'll find inside of it. We've deactivated this one, as it will do for 30 minutes after you take one down, but when you go near an active trial spawner, a bunch of mobs will spawn, and you need to kill them all. Once you do so, you'll get rewarded, and some of those rewards include the trial key. This is about a 30% chance every time you take one down. You might also get food or other things that will help you out though. This is basically the mini boss of 1.21. Taking down trial spawners is a lot of fun, and I would totally recommend that you go in and try it, even if you're not necessarily a PvP person. Number 57 is the Bogged. There are two brand new mobs in this update. One of these is a Bog. I'm gonna have to get out my sword before we do this. One of these is the Bogged. This is a brand new skeleton variant, and I really love what they've done with this, because unlike previous skeleton and mob variants, where it's just, oh, it's a zombie, but he looks different and he has a slightly different effect, no, this is actually a different mob, because if he attacks you, he has a much slower cooldown to account for the fact that he actually will shoot poison arrows at you. So Bogs can be found in the trial chambers. This is probably the more natural place for them, in my mind at least, but they do technically spawn in the swamp, and so if you're in a swamp, you will find Bogs, just like how you currently find the version of it in the snowy biome. It is a similar version of the Stray, but for the swamp, and I think that's kind of fun. Also, there is obviously the Bogged Spawn Egg, a brand new item we have to mention, which is why the Breeze counts as two items, the Spawn Egg, and then the Breeze himself. The Breeze obviously shoots out these big wind charges at you and drops Breeze rods, which are fun. They look like blaze rods, but they're used for other unique things. Really, really fun, unique things. Then we've got number 61, the Breeze Rod, which is great by itself and can be crafted into things like the wind charges. So wind charges are found enough by themselves in trial chambers, but if you want to, you can just at any time turn your Breeze Rod into a wind charge, or 4 of them in fact, and these wind charges can be used for all sorts of fun things, but the most interesting is the redstone effect. So this means that this will happen with breezes too. The reason there are so many redstone components in the trial chambers is because they will trigger and they will make your beautiful message into something a lot less beautiful. Is this a savannah tree now and a Tetris block on the floor there? It's hard to work out what it is because all of the buttons have been undone. Anyway, we can also do this with doors, for example, and so if you ever want to open a door in the most unique way possible, you know this is the way you've got to do it. And so, yeah, trying to, you could make a fun game out of trying to deliberately shut all of the doors like this, but the wind charge is a great item otherwise. Let me show you why that is right after I show you some other features. There are 3 brand new pottery shards. You can use these to make pots like you could in 1.20. I like the designs, especially of this one. There are obviously 2 brand new banner patterns, and there are also vaults. These vaults will take your keys and spit out goodies in exchange for them. The vaults can only be used once per world though. Seriously, every single time you load up a Minecraft world, vaults will generate and every player is only able to use them once. If you want to use them again, you have to get someone else into your world, and that's something really important you'll want to know. Speaking of important things you'll want to know, there's also these brand new armor trims. I kind of like them, but I could understand why not everyone would say this is the best set. If you're looking for a trim for your armor, I think this is a great way of saying that you like the trials. It'll make you look like a monster from them too, which is kind of fun. But speaking of looking like a monster, let's use the wind charge and let's jump over these hills. Look at this, by the way. Look how high we're jumping just with a small jump. If we were to crouch and then do it first, we could even go higher than that. But yeah, basically this is a new thing that you can choose to do, and you can also choose to get ominous bottles. So this ominous bottle is found by this guy. This is a pillager captain, or bad guy if you will. They spawn around your Minecraft world, but also in pillager towers, and they'll give you bad omen bottles. These bad omen bottles can also be found in the trial vaults themselves, which is handy. And so if you drink a bad omen bottle, what happens? Well, there's 2 things that can happen. One of these is you can drink it in a village, and this will give you the raid omen status effect. This functions exactly how a raid does. In fact, let me just quickly step in, and you'll see that my bad omen effect is going to become the raid omen effect. So it looks a lot like the old bad omen, and you have 30 seconds to get out of there. Just a warning, should probably do that. This is a very important feature, and it's a really cool change to the bad omen effect. You might be saying how and why, and it's because the fact that bad omens are optional, or at the very least savable till later, or you can use these ominous bottles to make the trial omen status effect. This trial omen will lead to an ominous trial spawner. It is a new variant of the trial spawner, which will give you more valuable things. Wow, is this a brand new type of key? But yeah, this is the entire drop table for it. I think you get a lot of diamonds for it in the very minimum, but also you'll find the mace enchantments, you'll find rare enchanted books in general. You'll find enchanted axes and armor, and I think it's just a very valuable thing to go for, even if you don't get the mace, which is, if we're being honest, what we're all looking for from it. Speaking of things we're looking for, let's talk about the new status effects. This is another kind of controversial one for the counting, but again, this is the consistent methodology we use for every single update, and it tends to be that when because when you get a brand new potion, obviously you get a splash and a lingering version of that potion and an arrow of it. So it means that we have 4 brand new status effects, 4 brand new potions that you can choose to brew, but that actually creates 16 brand new features. But I don't think these are going to be heavily used. Unlike I think the ominous trial spawner is an incredible thing you're going to want to come back to time and time again. You'll want to find ominous bottles to make these because you want these keys so damn bad. But these brand new status effects are mostly fairly negative. So there is the wind charging potion, which is made by brewing with a breeze rod. This will give effects that when an animal dies, or when a mob dies I should say, it will actually cause them to create wind charges. I think it's a lot of fun personally. So that is a bunch of armadillos with the wind charging effect now. A very silly little concept. Then there is the oozing effect. The oozing effect will allow a mob to spawn slimes after it dies. Again, mostly a negative for the player, but you can use this for farm, so it's one that you will want to set up at some point. Infested will cause a mob, every time it takes damage, to have a 10 to 20% chance of spawning a silverfish. Very, very wild one, but will affect some armadillos with it anyway. By the way, armadillos are a part of a previous update, not part of 1.21. And then we've got weaving. Weaving is made with the cobwebs, and this will lead to a potion which will cause an enemy, when it takes damage, to spawn cobwebs in the world. This makes cobwebs renewable, which is great. This makes silverfish spawn, which can then be used with oozing to spawn a lot of slimes, because you can have silverfish spawn, then give those the oozing effect to turn them into slimes, which then creates a lot of slime balls and a lot of experience. And this potion is for, I don't know, like if you're playing PvP and you want to have like a grenade drop after you die. It's basically the same, but with a wind charge. So that is a whole 20 features listed right there. The effects themselves, and then the 4 separate ways to have it. Each of those 4 ways is consistent across the 4 potions, and realistically, the way you'll encounter these most for the standard Minecraft player who's not getting too technical is in the Trials Chambers. When you encounter an ominous trial spawner, it will sometimes fire these effects at you. And so if you can deal with a ominous trial spawner, you'll get an ominous trial key about 30% of the time, and you can use these to unlock an ominous vault. An ominous vault has a lot of things you can get from it, but the biggest and most important for many is the heavy core. The heavy core is a brand new item that does precisely one thing at present, and that is to create the mace. I shouldn't have yelled it, but it's in caps. What can you do? It's the only way to read that out. So the mace, I had nothing I could do about this. I certainly couldn't have not written that in uppercase or changed it in any way. But yeah, with that said, it is worth mentioning that the mace is a brand new weapon, and the most powerful weapon Minecraft has added. It has gone through a lot of changes, so there's some controversies about how and why and all that stuff, but this is a weapon which you can find in this update that will deal up to an infinite amount of damage. To show you that, let me go right here, and let's go to the very top of the world and show you something fun. I'm not going to get this on my first hit, but brace for the mace, because if I can hit this warden on the ground... So yeah, this is something I said. This is one of the hardest things to do. People complained about the mace all day, and maybe you watching this video saying, wait, infinite damage? That's crazy. But basically, as you fall, the mace will give you more and more damage. As you pick up momentum on the way down, every additional block fallen adds more damage to the mace. This is increased further with enchantments if you want it to be, but even by itself, this means by falling from 300, this lovely tower that you might have spotted earlier, if we fall from this down onto the warden, as you can see, we can kill him in just a single hit. I'm impressed we got that on the second go, though. It takes a lot of skill to actually master landing perfectly on something, and you need to know exactly where your target is. So if you think it's OP, then I don't know, I feel like it's actually fairly muted in the grand scheme of things, but what isn't muted are the density enchantments. This increases the damage that you will do when falling down onto a mob. Then we've got the breach enchantment. This is feature 101. Breach will allow you to decrease the amount of armor that an enemy has effectively. Your effectiveness against them goes from 15 up to 60% with breach 4, which means that breach 4 is a better way way to kill a Netherite armor-equipped foe, the named Sharpness 5 Netherite sword, even if you don't account for the fact that the mace can obviously do its big mace attacks. And then we've got the Windburst enchantment. The Windburst enchantment is a really interesting one, because when you attack something with Windburst, you will launch yourself sky high, and this sounds like a fun thing by itself, but it has the downside of when you come down, you will not be protected from full damage. When you use a wind charge, you are... oh. When you use a wind charge, you are... What did I just do with that? I have no idea what I have done. But when you use Windburst, as I will show right now on a villager, hopefully. Okay, this is... yeah, using Windburst will allow you to launch yourself into the sky, but you won't be protected from the falls that come as a result. So let's go. There we go. As you can see, I just took 5.5 hearts off damage, and this is something that Minecraft are looking to buff. Not the damage taken, but the height increased, which means therefore the damage taken. Very wild. It's the wildest card enchantment of the three, but it is something you'll need to keep in mind, that Windburst is the hardest to get enchantment, but also the hardest to use, the easiest one to die using, and so I think it's the one I'll be using in survival, but only with wind charges, feather falling, and probably also an Elytra. But we'll see how that one goes in practice. Next up, we have the Crafter. The way I've been showing you all these crafting recipes is via these crafters, which use 5 separate iron, a crafting table, and a dropper, and 2 pieces of redstone to be crafted. What is happening in there? You know, I'm glad these guys... I think these guys have done something bad, by the way. They're standing looking the other way at the door. Anyway, so it's important to note that while we're here, there is a very fun thing that the crafter does, and it's the ability to take the things inside of it and craft them when it's given a redstone charge. So if we have these items inside, like we do right here, we can use it to have the crafter spit out a mace from its mouth. This is very fun, in my opinion. So yeah, the crafter is a very powerful new redstone piece of equipment, mostly for making farms. I think if you have a farm that has components that you want to have crafted down, you can do that automatically, and that's great. I think the other uses for it are a little bit more limited, but that's me talking as someone who doesn't do a lot of AFK farming, and so something I like a lot more are the new music discs. So there's 3 new music discs. The easiest one to get is Creator Music Box, which will sound something like this. I'm gonna be talking over it, and I'm aware of that, don't worry, but it's beautiful. I like it. Who wouldn't? And so it's a very short version of Creator, which is one of the other 2 songs you can get, Precipice, and so Creator sounds like this. It is, I think, the fan favorite of the 3 discs. Tell me what you think. Sounds like the music box version, but get this right. It changes after a few seconds. I think it's really good personally, but my initial thoughts were that I really like Precipice a little bit more. This is by Aaron Shiroff, so most of the Minecraft music post C418 has been made by Lena Rain, and both of these discs were, but this one is made by Aaron Shiroff instead, and I think the biggest critique people give this is it's not very Minecrafty, but I would say it's so great otherwise. So me and the villagers will listen to this now. I love it. I think it's so good. But yeah, this is one of the new music discs that you can have as part of this update, and I think that these 3 are all worth getting. But yeah, you will get them from the trial, you will find them in the trial chambers, you'll find them in the vaults and the ominous vaults, and you'll want to go and get them. At least I'll want to go get them. I think this is a cool new collectible item and a cool new piece of customization, which also informs what Minecraft have done with 107 and 108 here, the new panorama and the new music tracks. So when you go to the Minecraft menu screen, it will look look like this instead of like this. Every update there is a brand new one of these, which I think is pretty great. Honestly, every now and then I'm reminded about some old ones, like, do you remember 1.14? Do you remember 1.17? Anyway, the point here is to say that there are also new music tracks which will play over this new panorama, but also in the game itself. And so now we've got 20 new paintings to show off, and as we go through this gallery, let's talk about some of the other major minor features in this update. So yeah, obviously we've got paintings which will get bigger as we go through, because I think meditative is nice, it's a reference to the poppy. Humble is nice, it's American Gothic, and you know, I think these paintings are nice, but what you might prefer more is the fact that TNT explosions now have a 100% drop rate on Bedrock. They've had this on Java for a while, it's finally on Bedrock. They've updated the oxygen bar. I think it looks really great personally. They have also made it so you can stand on boats while in water. Mobs will spawn on the center of blocks rather than the corner. This will mess up farms, by the way, keep that in mind. A lot of farms rely on them spawning on the corner, so just make sure that you know that they won't. By the way, tides is nice. So too is sunflowers. So too is the end boss. Wow, I wonder what that could be referencing. And fern, and yeah, all of these paintings will be found in the natural rotation in the same way every other painting is found. Speaking of every other painting, the fact that cobwebs will have new sound effects and effect particles are no longer blended together but separate. Grindstones can be made with stone slabs. Rip super flat survival. This is true. If you had a flat world survival, you can no longer cheese your way into getting a grindstone villager. Speaking of cheesing my way into something, here is Khotan, 118. Here is Owl Lemons, 117. I like this one a lot. Who wouldn't love this one, honestly? Then we've got Cave Bird over here, and then we've got over here Bouquet, as well as, of course, Backyard and Pond. And the final feature is 4 brand new ambient cave sounds. So these are all changes to existing features. They don't count into the 128, whereas it is true that there are 20 new paintings, and so we add each of them to the feature count, which means that by the time we get to the end here, we have 128 features. It says 117, 118, but we'll just go in there. There's nothing we could have done about that. No mistake being made here. No siree. But anyway, as you can see, Unpacked is a beautiful reference to pack.png, and I love that Minecraft are doing this with their paintings. A lot of the paintings previously were references to art, but these ones were made by Christopher Zetterstrand, the artist who made the original paintings, but with references to regular art in there too, but also a lot of Minecraft references mixed in with the batch, which I just think is a beautiful way to do this. There are lots more customization options that you have as part of this update, and I think this is really great. And so that is precisely why I've showed you all of these today. Hopefully you found this video to be useful, and hopefully now you consider subscribing to the channel, because I have heard that 99.9% of house fires happen to people who aren't subscribed to the IBXToyCat YouTube channel, and there's only one way to prevent that. My controller died just now, which is a pretty perfect time if you ask me. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and also thank you to AdorableHoe for putting together this world, as he does every update, and to Harrison for editing this video, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.